someone on the commission request this meeting?
I requested a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll find out why, because they've got a deadline they've got to hit.
Yeah, if it's the deadline I'm thinking of, I mean, that grant period's been open since December 1st.
That's not us.
Okay, I call to order this special meeting of the Fort Scott City Commission. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, or do I need to say what it's about first?
Gonna have to have,
Okay,
roll call.
never mind, sorry.
We have an agenda?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Dylan Olson.
Here.
Matthew Wells.
Here.
Tracy Dancer.
Here.
Catherine Salisbury.
Here.
Tim Van Hookey.
Now we can rise.
Now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we gather here today and we pray you just look after our city staff that are out there cleaning our roads and trying to make life easier for us. We pray you look after our first responders who might have to go out into this and help our citizens. We pray that the decisions and conversations we're about to have will be fruitful and productive. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Brad, could you help us? Thank you.
So, called this special meeting because Fort Scott Community College representatives came to us last week to talk about a grant that they are going after, and it is a deadline that's due Friday, correct? And instead of me trying to explain it each individually to you, I'd like them to explain what the grant is for or about, and then we can have discussion. Okay, that's okay. Go ahead.
Do you want us to stand here?
Yeah, come to the podium, please.
First of all, thank you for meeting with us on such a short notice. We appreciate it. I'll start with introducing myself. My name is Sonia Gugnani, and I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Fort Scott Community College.
Rory Chaplin, I'm the Associate Dean of CTE and Workforce Development.
And the reason we are here today in front of you guys is we are applying for the FRAME grant. I don't know how much you guys are aware of that grant. It's a grant through Department of Commerce, which they announced for technical and community colleges in the state of Kansas. So any community college or technical college can apply for the grant, and we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to apply because it fits with our mission. I mean, it's a construction trade grant for a construction trade student. So through this grant, the total amount which is available is $2 million, and per awardee, they're gonna be awarding, I believe, $250,000 to $1 million to whosoever qualifies for the grant. Now, part of this grant is when we get it, it's going to be used to build 4 houses we have to do within the next 2 years. So the first 2 houses, either we have to renovate or build within the next year, and then proceeds from sale of those houses could be used to build another 2 houses next year. We can't use the grant to buy the land, and that's why we are here, because we talked to Brett and we thought that how can we collaborate with the city to make sure this opportunity is available for our students, as well as having a quality housing for our residents in Bourbon County. And basically what we are thinking is we would like city to support our mission by either donating a piece of land where we could build the houses. And again, we have talked to Brad about it. We have tossed some ideas in terms of what it's going to look like. And we are hoping to build 2 houses, which is going to be anywhere between 1,100 to 1,500 square feet with 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. Because that's, we looked at the need or the study which was done by Reddy in 2022 the Bourbon County Housing Assessment study, and we saw that there is a need for these kind of houses in Bourbon County. So we thought it would be beneficial, and it would give our students to work on those houses alongside with the contractor. So not only they are getting hands-on experience, but they are giving back to the community they live in. So I don't know how much more detail you want me to go in. I'm happy to answer any questions or.
As far as the timeline, it was open in December. I think I heard you ask earlier.
Yeah.
Originally, we were thinking more infill lots. Just the more we got into it, the more we figured we're shooting for houses in the $185,000 to $225,000 range. So I feel like it kind of needs to be more of a subdivision
Yes.
rather than infill.
Because our thing
With
is.
the longevity of the program, the infills are something that we want to do, but with the constraints of the grant, without having already owned certain properties, we felt like this was the best way. So we kind of pivoted.
And as part of the grant, they not only want us to build 4 houses, they want us to sustain this grant, which I think is, or the work we're going to be doing through this grant. So I know at some point we're going to run out of money to build new houses, but we want our students to have hands-on training, so maybe renovating some houses. I mean, if we could do that. And again, like Rory mentioned, we want to have it in a place where we build those houses and we have people willing to buy it, because you got to make sure. So maybe having a neighborhood, we start with 4 houses, and if somebody else wants to build after that, or if we have the funds to build continuous building on those lots, then that would be beneficial.
And the houses would need to be sold within 180 days
Yeah,
after completion. So there's a time frame there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Roland.
So, another part of the grant you had said was that it was eligible for renovation as well, right? Renovation, is that still not an option, or
It is.
you just decided you want to go with new build?
We wanted to go with new build because the problem with the renovation is they.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we can still do the renovation, but the problem with the renovation is Department of Commerce is saying that we can only renovate the houses which are uninhabitable. So we have to find some houses where people are not living, and then it has to be a clear deed and whatnot. So that's why we thought it would be better to build new houses than.
Okay. I do have some questions. I was reading up on the frame grant, and it says that they really encourage you to work with your community's land bank, which I would think would be better in a lot of ways, because you can't use the frame grant money for infrastructure, which I understand if we got a big piece of land, we'd have to do all that infrastructure. And the land bank would already have that running in. So I'm just wondering, like, it seems to me like that would be a better route, maybe at least initially, and then you could branch out and do more. I guess I'm just thinking, we have all these land banks.
Yeah.
And all these houses that need renovation. We're always looking for that. And that would, I don't want to tell you what to do with, but that seems to me to be a better fit. And then when you've used the proceeds to feed back in, you could then, like in a couple years, because I guess my thought is if you're doing a subdivision and you have to sell it in 180 days, it's really not a subdivision yet. By the time you've done that, someone's going to be like, well, I'm sitting here and now I'm living here across the street from a construction zone. You know what I mean? If you're doing 2 a year. Does it
Yeah,
make sense? Yeah.
I think like I said, we originally were looking at some of the properties. One issue is having clear title on a lot of those properties. And then another is the frame grant kind of allows us to do, if we're awarded the grant, it allows us to do more as far as scale. So we were looking at it more like after the 2 years, like in the 3rd year. That's where we could go in and we could either build on some of the infill lots from the land bank, or maybe take a 2-bedroom, 1-bath and turn it into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with the renovations and additions. So really it's more kind of getting that bigger return up front and using that to sustain the program as far as the renovations and maybe some of the infill lots just that can kind of be here and there. And the other piece to this was, as far as the infrastructure, if the water and the sewer, the infrastructure is there, like if we've got 5 to 10 acres, then the other idea there is that we could be spurring on additional builds from other contractors and investors. So this would be kind of a way to springboard that for some others, I believe.
Okay.
And we talked about
In
that.
the areas.
Tossed the idea of, having that places with, or working with land bank to see if we could do it. So like I said, we've talked to various individuals and we wanted to make sure, because we have to build 2 houses in the first year. And again, it starts August 1st and it has to end by May 31st. And our students have to work on it. So that's another thing. We wanted to make sure that these lots they are working on, they are right side by side. So it's easier for students because they're going to be bused from high schools during the time they are supposed to have those classes and be working on those houses. That's why, and like Rory mentioned, we wanted to go more first year, and the money we get from selling those houses, then we can use that to sustain other things.
Did you already have a parcel in mind?
I'm sorry.
There's-
Did you already have a land
Parcel
parcel in
land.
mind?
Not really, because like I said, we have talked about it. That's why we came to Brad and said, Brad, do you have anything for us? Because initially we were leaning towards the land bank thing, but then we are like, okay, if we want to do this and we want to invite more people, whether, people looking for houses or builders building that, it would be attractive to them that, hey, there are already 4 houses built over here. There's more need for these similar kind of houses. So no, we don't have any
Okay.
thing in mind to say.
Well, without having a parcel in mind, and with your grant submission being due, did you say tomorrow?
On Friday.
Friday.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Friday.
Friday, okay, due Friday. How can the city commission even make an assessment on whether or not we would have land to give that would fit your needs, or a dollar figure on land that we would purchase if we were going to go that way? Myself, I kind of agree with Commissioner Salisbury. We have so much land bank land and so many homes that need renovations. And for this parcel, you said like a 5 to 10 acre lot, you're going to put 2 houses on it. Then who owns that parcel? And then, how long might we have to sit on it? And I'm assuming that the city, for something like that, would need to do the water, the sewer, and all of the infrastructure for that parcel.
The city would purchase the property, from what I'm gathering. The city would purchase the property and gift it to the college, those 4 lots. And of course, we would do the infrastructure. Now, the infrastructure could cost, according where it's at. If it's in a property area where there's no infrastructure within miles, yeah, we're gonna have to have, that's a lot of infrastructure. But if it's close to a neighborhood, it's not gonna be that hard to tie into. But that's kind of what we talked about. Is I really feel the best way, and I talked to him today, is the best way to go about this, if you voted on this at all, is commit to a certain dollar amount, if that's where you're going. And that's up to you 5. For the grant, that would work, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
They don't have to have a certain
We don't have to have an
land. It doesn't have to be 123 South Main or whatever. It can be just the city is supporting this in this junction. That's basically what we've talked about.
Absolutely. So even though the grant is due Friday, we are not writing specifically where the land is or where anything is. We just saying that if city does commit to providing these services, we're gonna add that to our grant, that yes, we're gonna have either land donated and infrastructure, so city would be responsible for that.
If we were,
And then how much is the college kicking in for the purchase of whatever land?
We were not, because we also had talked to Fort Scott Area Foundation, and they were willing to join in purchasing the land. But when we talked to Brad, so Brad suggested that it may be better that instead of having two partnerships, that city buys the land and donates part of it to the college, and then rest of it probably cut into plots and sell them.
Okay. I mean, I got to put it out there. I am not an advocate of the city being a landholder or landlord. Certainly not, not supportive of an idea of city taxpayers paying to supplement another taxing entity's, acquisition. I mean, the community college already has, you already tax the residents of the city. And, I know that you're not proposing this, but the idea that the city taxpayers would then pay again more to supplement the community college's budget. I just can't support it.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess maybe another way to look at this would be rather, we're not asking for more taxes, we're not, I see this more as the point of the grant is to bolster housing.
Oh, no, I
in
understand the
areas
point of
like
the
ours,
grant.
And then also the training for the skills gap,
Yep.
for the people to continue. So, and then also the economic development.
Yeah, and I'm all for, what Commissioner Salisbury and Commissioner Van Hookey are talking about, using the properties that are in the land bank.
The problem is most of those you're not gonna have clear
Clear title.
title on them. And
Right.
you're also, you get a little skinny parcel here, here, and here. The actual largest piece that the land bank has is set there for over a year.
Nope,
It's right down the road from me.
I get that
You're not gonna
too.
build a $200,000 house.
That's another, yeah, that we have talked about that idea, and that was another thing in terms of we can't build a $200,000 or $185,000 house, or even if we build it, are we gonna get a return on that?
Well, I mean, you can rehab a property.
Yeah,
You
and
can
that's,
add on to a
we-
property.
and again, that's the land bank and some of these
Yeah.
other houses that we could pick up. that is something,
And then,
in year three that we're looking to
yeah, and
move towards. It's just with this opportunity.
well, we're looking for an 11th hour solution, right? I mean, your deadline's 2 days from now.
It's just about, yes, it is to submit the grant. So we wanted to make sure that we have the support before we put that in there. If we
course.
don't, we're probably not going to put that in there. But, so that's why we wanted
Okay.
to, have that.
I can think
We
we're,
wouldn't be able to do anything on this scale otherwise.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would be looking at the land banks and really, I don't know if it's worth it to use this grant for something like that based on some of the other opportunities that are out there for some of those properties. So that's where.
I mean, this is, above all, it's an educational opportunity.
there's an area where land is readily available by the city, but it would be it's a can of worms again. I mean, the lake.
Be some of those third-tier properties out there, set back on the far side, which probably would not get developed anyway. There's some,
I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
we have some properties that we could put towards it. So you got to look at the benefit versus the cost. One of the benefits that this is going to bring specifically to the school is that if they can get this grant and invest in it now, then they're, like he says, in the third and fourth year, they're going to have the money. So they get, let's say, $250,000. They can build a $250,000 home, sell that $250,000. Any profit they make plus that $250,000 allows them to go into the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. So this is something that allows them to sow in to doing more land bank properties later. If they go after the land bank properties right now, they're not going to be able to get enough of a return to make this particular grant viable for the long-term probability of the program to be able to benefit the city.
We really don't have enough information to make that determination, right?
I
I
have,
mean, this meeting was called in the 11th hour. I mean, we have nothing, and we had no read ahead, nothing to consider.
I'm not saying we commit dollars,
yeah.
but when it comes to a letter of support, we could,
Yeah, and I have a copy of
allow
the
them
grant,
to
and I
go.
apologize, I know you don't have that information ahead, before this meeting. But like I said, we just wanted to make sure that we have these partnerships, we can avail them. And like Rory mentioned, we want to capitalize in terms of what we can get from Department of Commerce in the initial year, and then we are able to sustain it. And as far as college keeping the money, I mean, we are gonna have to use that money, every single dollar, to make sure we are renovating or building those houses, which are part of the grant.
So to recoup some of the money, you said taxpayers paying for their property. If we bought a 10-acre plot, they take 4 acres of that. We can sell the other 6 acres to
Oh, wait,
developers that's going to pay, that's going to continue giving us back that money for those acres. We're not just going to leave them
Not if
there.
we sell it at the lake.
I don't know about the,
I was just-
I'm just saying.
you were worried about
City
buying land.
generates no tax revenue by.
And the
selling.
infrastructure part of the game, we're not gonna just go out and do infrastructure for 4 properties. We're gonna do infrastructure for a whole subdivision, just plan ahead that somebody will come in and buy it. Because if they go out wherever they go and go ahead and build 2 houses, and we have property across the street, somebody's gonna want that land. There's too many people wanting properties.
We had just talked, like, in our last meeting, or I think we're the one before, about needing houses in the community that are more in the, like, 60, 70,000 range. And I guess I'm wishing that was what we were doing here, because I know there are some people, but are there enough people in the area that can afford, like, these houses that are 125,000 plus?
I mean, based on visiting with the local realtors and then this housing assessment from 2022, yes, the range we're looking at is the most the most popular ask.
Well, I thought you said these were gonna sell for like 250,000.
That's my mistake. I was thinking of splitting it in half. I think I led us wrong when I said that, Tim. Sorry. Yeah, because you're going to sell them for like 250 is what you're thinking, right?
185 to 225.
Yeah, okay.
And so, with that said, I mean, you came to a meeting tonight. Did you have a number that you were asking for the city to commit to? Because, I mean, bottom line, within our budget as well, it comes down to a number. You said you don't have a particular piece of property at this time that you're considering. So, I mean, how do we commit to any type of number?
I was just going to say, for what we're looking at, the 4 houses in the 2 years, we could do 4 houses on 2 acres. I mean, I think we're in the $10,000 to $15,000 per acre. Yeah.
Per acre? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay,
If the city's gonna buy 10 acres, then
I believe that's Brad's suggestion
That
for us
just-
to be able to recoup
yeah.
money.
yeah.
So
Where do
this-
we have a 5 or 10 acre plot inside the city limits?
What's that?
Where do we have a 5 to 10 acre?
City
plot
of Fort
within-
Scott don't have that, but others do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
several.
landowners that have them.
I'm still inclined to go to the tax, to the land bank, explore that option. But the idea that the city is going to go out and use taxpayer money to buy property, again, to supplement another taxing entity's budget is, for me, it's ludicrous. The city and the county have the ability to adjust taxes. We know the community college and the school district do not. And I understand you're looking at a partnership, so, if we can stipulate that, hey, this will be taken out of the land bank, and we'll work with you with the properties in the land bank, I can support that. If it's, hey, we want the city taxpayers to pay more to supplement Bourbon County Community College's budget, I'd say no. Look, we have already established that we have paid more than our share as city residents in Bourbon County for county programs. And if county needs more money, they need to raise the mill levy.
Yeah,
We're not.
I guess I'm kind of lost on that statement, and maybe somebody else can chime in, but I don't think they're asking for us to help them with their budget. They are doing this for a grant to give kids opportunity to build houses. Now, what does the grant give to the college? The material, basically the cost of materials.
Materials, yes.
Tools,
And
materials.
yes.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, again, we are not asking to raise money from, and not using our own budget. We have to provide a match from our side, so the
Understand, but,
salary-
you know, from my position, you're up there saying, hey, look, we're looking at this as an investment in the community. We want to spurn contractor development, and we want to give these kids an opportunity to work on active housing builds, right? And knowing that we don't have a 5 to 10 acre plot, we would then have to go out and buy it, right? With
mean-
taxpayer money.
Right.
So,
Is
yeah,
there,
if-
is there not money set aside for the economic development?
Sure there is, but that's already been allocated for economic development, yeah? And
Currently.
no?
We've got over $100,000
Yeah.
that's not.
And you have land bank money sitting there too.
And the other thing I wanted to say,
But-
like, we are not looking for 8 to 10 acres. That was just a suggestion for the city to recoup the money. We are like saying 2 acres. That's all we are saying.
You know,
Just go
ideally,
for-
you'd want a parcel that you could annex, if it's not already in the city, annex it into the city, so it becomes a part of the tax base. But
I pretty much have no confidence in
you're
our
saying,
ability to
you
annex
keep,
anything.
but you keep saying you're comparing this to budget increases. Well, every entity increased taxes this year, every single one. It's not about budgets.
Well, we already have a lot of infrastructure that we need to pay for just to maintain, right? The idea that we're going to go out there and expand our infrastructure without
If you're
the
not,
promise of
you have to
collecting-
grow, though. You can't just say, well, this is what we have. You have to grow. So this, if you're saying investing $100,000 to get over 2 million in return is a bad investment, I would have to disagree with that. That, any investor would tell you that's a good investment to
Well,
get that
2
back in
million
your.
is the top end of the grant. They don't know for sure how much. It could
Yeah.
be 250,000 to 2 million. They
Yeah,
don't
but-
know what they might be awarded.
Regardless of that, at the end of the day, we would get 2 taxable properties that are then going to pay money in property taxes into the city coffers
It would
for the
actually be
next.
4.
And
too.
how long would we have to pay?
4 properties for the
Yeah.
foreseeable future.
How long
So
would we have to collect on that?
We
for
would,
that?
we would be able to collect it for.
No, I mean,
Perpetuity.
but for how long?
Well, on a $185,000 house, your average property tax is $2,400 a year.
Versus if we find a parcel.
$400 a year.
in the
Probably
land
more
bank.
than that.
Is it- Oh, yeah,
I'd say
they all went up because
3,500.
everyone raised taxes this year.
It's more than that. I'll say it's.
So, let's say, so, it's 185.
And the title has to be clear for us too.
Yep, I get
That's
that.
another thing.
To build on it, to sell.
Yep.
I'm more interested in, do you need a dollar commitment tonight, or can it just be a letter of support?
It has to be a letter of support, again, when we are putting it. We don't want to be too specific in our grant. You know, that's another thing. So we want to be presenting the facts. And when we say that city is committing to doing this, again, not a dollar amount, whether it's infrastructure and donating basically 2 acres of land, that's what we're going to go with. And I've
Those are 2 things that can't be paid for through the grant, is
Grant.
infrastructure and
Yeah.
acquisition.
So infrastructure,
But on
we
infrastructure,
offer that anyway to, if a contractor comes here, we generally say we'll work with them.
Sure.
So really, it's just coming down to the land. At minimum, they're saying they want 2 acres.
so it'd be
I'd like to
roughly-
think our city manager could probably find someone that would.
So if we're buying 2 acres, theoretically, we'd be spending on the high end around $30,000. So increasing the property taxes on a $185,000 home means that the city would be paid back that property tax in about 9.375 years. So less than 10 years, we would recoup the money invested in taxes, and then every year after that, the taxes would continue to go to the city.
That's if you're only doing 2 acres. it wouldn't
Absolutely.
be-
And if you have more acres right next to it, then and
Yeah.
there are more houses built, then you'll be able to recoup faster.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see the numbers. That's,
I would say vote on the letter of commitment.
yeah, letter of
Yea or nay,
support.
And that, I think that would get you through to Friday.
Like I said, the more detail we put in, the better our chances of getting the grant. That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's contingent.
And then if we can, if we can commit to looking at the land bank to see if we can find parcels with clear titles with existing infrastructure, yeah. Where the city doesn't have to come
There,
out.
I don't think there's none.
Well, let's look.
no. The only
What
one
would it
that
take to
had
get
clear title
'Cause
is
when I
being
was
built
oh,
on.
sorry, didn't mean to talk. Go ahead, sorry.
I say the only one that had clear title, I'm pretty sure is being built on. That's the new house going up on National, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
All the rest of them, they're working on, but unfortunately, if the land isn't donated prior to demolition, it is an extremely long process to get clear title. On a lot of these pieces of land, we're still trying to find the owners because it's been divided amongst 3 kids living in California, Wisconsin, and West
Well,
Virginia. So it's a process to be able to.
And
get
the-
land.
Again, I'm gonna have to see it.
And again, like,
what?
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to see the evidence. I got nothing.
It's
When
I
it comes to the
understand
land
you're saying
bank,
that-
I'm
Yep.
giving you my word that you're not gonna get title insurance on most of them parcels for even a prospective buyer for 10 or 15 more years.
And I get, I understand what everyone's saying, and it looks like we should at least look down that. And when I was reading about the frame thing, the frame grant, the site was saying they really encourage you to do the land bank. So I'm just thinking from the sense of applying for grants, that sounds more like what they want to hear from you, is that you're going to try, you know what I mean?
actually, and I have the document, if you
Yeah.
guys want to, I made a copy, if you guys each want to have a copy. So it says with both of them, like land bank or howsoever you want to do new builds. But again, when we are saying we are trying to build houses in Fort Scott and we are investing so much money, we need to make sure we are building in
Make enough.
the place that we are able to sell it and recoup the money so that we can continue this project. That's, I mean, not, building is not just, it's one part of it. Sustaining it is a bigger part of it. So we want to make sure that it's sold at the price what we are asking, and then it continues for the near future.
So, pretty much you're asking for a letter that says that the city would report efforts of this grant. Like I said, my biggest stipulation would be that there can be no, at this point, no monetary, the word monetary or financial not be included in the letter. That would be a sticking point for me because we don't know, what other land might be available out there. I mean, say what you will, but I mean, Commissioner Olson made a suggestion about parcels we have at the lake and those 3rd-tier loops as well. Those might be options where you could put them side by side, and there's some infrastructure out there already. So,
Yeah. The only problem with the lake properties that I would point out is that the city will not recoup any of the taxes of those properties if we were to donate those properties.
That's true. I was just.
Yeah, no, and
putting an
I don't
option
mean to
out
take
there.
away from it at all, but I'm looking at a return on investment for the city, and the best return that we're gonna get at the city is that these properties are built in the city. or
Everyone is a
it's-
county resident.
Yeah, it's
and
part of land that we can.
Anything in the county
annex.
benefits every citizen, one way or another, because we.
And then there's also
Only if county's actually paying for their stuff.
the logistical end of that, getting students
Getting out
to
there
the site and then
lake.
back to school, you know.
I have a question, totally away from this part, but, so you build build house number 1. Or you build first 2 houses, and you sell them for $250 a piece. So say 500,000.
That would be the high, yeah.
That, 500,000. You make a profit of 100,000. If a landowner would donate you 2 acres, would you pay them back the money? You can't do
We
that?
can't, that's part of the grant that we cannot use that funds to,
Okay, so you cannot
No.
pay back,
No.
even if they,
no, it says. that
okay,
right
donate
there.
at first?
It has to
Okay,
be, yeah, that's the thing.
okay.
So if we did make a profit, then it's gonna go towards the next 2 houses. Again, as a college, we can't keep the money because we have to provide them. We're gonna have to give them quarterly reports to the Department of Commerce that what money, like how much was used to build the house, how much we sold it to, and what we are doing with that money. It's not like we get to keep that money. So it's just basically sustaining that project for however long we can.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like unless they're maybe buying dirt to build earthen homes, that might fall under purchasing materials. But, yeah, purchasing materials and purchasing land isn't allowed.
So without knowing anything about budget, could the college buy 2 acres of land?
We can't. Like,
Yeah, I guess you'd still be the same
yes,
entity.
we can't.
Well, can the school district? I mean, are you partnering with the school district? Because this is providing training for high school kids,
U234?
right? Yeah,
We have dual credit classes with high
The
school
school.
students.
okay. Is the school district chipping in at all?
Not with the land or anything, but I'm sure they said that they're gonna provide support because we are also asking. So it's not just city, we have asked Ready, we have asked Bourbon County Foundation for a letter of support, and we have asked the USD 234 for a letter of support.
Okay.
But like I said, the more evidence we have, the better our chances to getting the grant.
Has Bourbon County proper, I mean, have they committed anything?
No,
Okay.
I have not talked to Bourbon County, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Well, with it being Fort Scott Community College, with the benefit that it would provide to our city, the benefit that it'll provide, hopefully, in getting some more contractor students out there to be able to help the current contractors that we have, because everyone that I talk to is in desperate need for employees that know how to do this kind of work. And based on the return of less than 10 years just on the 2 houses alone, I'd be willing to offer up at least $30,000 from the Economic Development Fund to be able to purchase land to donate to the school in order to get this program going, just based on the return that we're going to see. And so that would be my motion this evening.
I could commit to a letter of support if we stipulate that the acquisition of these lands and the sale, we don't offer the neighborhood revitalization program tax rebate, because then it would take even longer for the city to recoup its expenses. With that stipulation, I would second a letter of support.
Are you for the
And the
third,
dollar amount?
and the dollar amount?
No, not a dollar
Okay,
amount.
so need to see if his motion gets a second,
Okay.
and then,
I'll second Commissioner Wells' motion.
Catherine Salisbury,
No.
Dylan Olson,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tracy Dancer,
No.
Tim Van Hookey.
No.
so now Tracy.
Okay. Now, I could, like I said, if we exclude the dollar amount and stipulate the tax rebate offered by the city's neighborhood revitalization program, it does not apply, I would support this. So,
I don't think you can do that
Okay.
legally, because you're making a motion to support their efforts and for us to do infrastructure, I'm sure. So by taking away the NRP, you're not doing anything to them. You're doing to the homeowner, the buyer. So the buyer would still be able to go after the NRP
If they do improvements beyond the purchase
on
of
the
the
new
home.
house.
Right.
On the new
So
house.
as
Yeah.
the new home would set after sell, we would still recoup the property taxes. It would be anything beyond that that they might
Ex-
do on their property, like putting in a swimming pool, a fence, items like that, that they could go after the NRP, but only on those.
And you're not
items.
doing, are you doing landscaping or sidewalks? Did I hear that you're not doing?
There would, for the property itself, but not an entire, at least at this point, not an entire, like the communal sidewalks.
Okay.
But, from a driveway to the home, that's.
Okay. But
Mr. Dancer, did you have a motion then
you'd still go with the infrastructure, correct, in your
with a
motion?
letter of support?
I would include infrastructure in my letter of support, but not a dollar figure for acquisition of property. And again, stipulating that the NRP tax rebate does not apply.
So without a dollar figure, though, are you giving the city manager permission to search for a parcel, or what do we?
I guess I'm not, so I will retract my motion.
Yes, Ms. Lisa?
I just would like to be able to address you just for a moment. When we're looking at trying to move forward with the housing issues that we currently have, we've started doing on our assessment, we've also done different items to be able to, different surveys to be able to get information back from the community as to what is being best for their voice. In those responses, we have received that they are desperately looking for housing, for new housing. Most of our current inventory, the newest house is back in 2000. So we have 25 years of not having new housing. We have some new development that's been recently started. So the only thing that I ask is that if you would take the time to consider that, yes, this is what you're saying is tax dollars. I understand that, Commissioner Dancer. But what I'm also understanding is that listening from what the community has expressed and what they're looking for is that they are looking for some new options to be able to stay here in Port Scott. Our population is continually declining. If we don't make some changes, or if we don't make some sort of a move in some direction, I'm afraid that that decline will still continue.
No,
Again, I
understand.
I just wanted to express.
No, thank you.
Okay, so what could we put in a letter of support that would satisfy what is needed, but isn't, not super amorphous? Like, if we can't put a dollar amount because we haven't seen things yet, and we can't say, oh, only the land bank, what could we do to get a letter of support? Because, I think that it sounds like we all want to support it, but I'm lost on how much, what do we need to put in that to satisfy it?
What would we need?
Yeah.
What would we need for a letter of support?
Beyond this meeting, I would say, with some of the infill that we're needing, as well as some of the rehabs that we're needing on existing homes, if I was gonna put a dollar amount again, I would look more towards the lines of incentivizing contractors on those properties as opposed to, a commitment on these two houses financially.
What's the difference? What would be the difference in incentivizing contractors or developers than incentivizing the Fort Scott Community College? Because like Commissioner Olson has said, we do have money in economic development. We do have money in the land bank. If a developer came up right now, and we got one, that needs help 10,000, 15,000, whatever, they're gonna come to you. And matter of fact, you're probably gonna have one within the next couple weeks, I'd say. What's the difference between a developer and the Fort Scott Community College, except the taxing entity? Scrap that out, because this is a grant that they're going after. This is not benefiting the taxpayer entity. This is benefiting the taxpayers, because we're putting houses on the tax roll. So you're buying land as you're giving money to a developer, okay? They're the developer. They're building just like the developer we're talking to. They're gonna build whatever, 250,000.
Four.
Good luck. But, they're building those. It's same as Joe Blow developer down the street that's gonna come talk to us. And that's where I'm kind of confused. I'm not disagreeing with you or anybody. This is totally your vote.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but to me, I look at it,
I'm sorry,
we just recently talked with the county about trying to work together, and here we have another entity where we could do something together that could be beneficial to the tax base, students.
I've had
working together,
almost 6 hours to consider this,
and
and
I
just
get it.
based on the little bit of information I received. And, right now, I don't have anything to consider other than what we've talked about at this table tonight.
That's why I'd say, what do you need in the?
I mean, the thing is, letter of support, like I said, we have to say that we are somebody is gonna donate us the land. So that's important, because that's a requirement of the grant. If there is none, then we are definitely not gonna get it, which is okay, because it's your decision. And the other thing is infrastructure, because it makes it look better in terms of we are working with our city, with our county. And I know you asked about county. I plan on going to county and say, hey, what you're gonna be doing? Because it's about collaborating with all the partners we have. And I know we talk about it, the residents talk about it. This is a perfect opportunity. And I'm not saying we're gonna get the grant, but at least we are trying. The other thing is, it's gonna be beneficial to the people who live here, right? Or attracting people from other areas.
We've got 2,800 people commuting.
Yes, and saying, hey, we have the need, but we can't find the house, what we are looking for, because either the houses are on a lower level, or they are very higher spectrum, and there is no in the middle. And if they are very old, and people want to, build new houses.
And that's something we hear over and over again.
Yeah.
We have somewhere between 2,800, and I heard it was 3,000 people who commute into our community every day to work, because there are no houses in town for them to buy.
And I want you to consider this fact,
Suitable for their
everything
They
aside.
want new homes.
Yeah.
That's their stipulation. So they'll go to Pittsburgh, they'll go to Nevada, they'll go anywhere to buy the home that they want. They don't have a problem driving. They would
Yeah.
rather live here, but there hasn't been enough new homes built in the last 25 years to make anything available for them. They want to buy homes in Fort Scott. I've had several of them reach out, and they're like, we would love to buy a brand-new home here, but there are no brand-new homes available that meet the bare stipulations of what we would like.
And to tell you the truth, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so to tell you the truth, what gets me excited the most about this is our students working on it. And they are Bourbon County residents. They are the kids of the people who live here. So not only it's benefiting to our taxpayers, but their students, they're getting hands-on training. And I can tell you, over the last year, I don't know if you guys are aware or not, these same construction trade kids have helped out in the community. They built chairs and
Donated
Table.
stuff for Care to Share.
Care to Share.
the Skating rink building.
They built the shed for the skating rink. So those kids work for it, and they take pride, when they go out and see the structures they have built, they take pride in saying that, hey, this is our work. So I think that's why we are so passionate about this grant, because it's like we want our students to work on it. So that is the thing which motivates me, and that's why I'm here.
I wish you had been at that podium 2 months ago, so that we could have more gamed a method to support you, something that we could iron out. This comes really late. I mean, you're coming to us. community college isn't contributing anything other than orchestrating the program, right?
I
Now,
mean,
Bourbon
that's a pretty
County,
good chunk of that project, though.
no, I get that. but
And the
that's your
salary and
job.
benefits, yes,
Yeah,
it is a match.
That's what you do.
Yes.
Right?
But we have to
So-
provide the match, which is salary and benefits for our employee.
Nope,
who's
I
gonna be
understand
working.
that.
Yeah.
Right? But that, again, that's what you do. That's why you're there, right? So, now, like I said, I wish we had more time to consider this, because, you're saying that you haven't gone to Bourbon County yet. I'm assuming you're not going to meet with them tonight.
Yeah,
You'd
the
have
reason
to-
why, like I said, we were kind of fixated originally on the land bank properties.
Okay.
Trying to make that work. It was just becoming more and more clear that just was not going to work.
Well, because it's coming to us so late, and because we haven't had this come before the commission before, to consider it, to have the notice of this meeting publicized to the public so they could be in attendance, so that they could approach the podium and make their own voices heard. And because we have had almost no time to consider it. We've had 20 minutes, right? I'm disinclined to commit to support in a monetary amount. Because, like I said, I have not had a chance, the public has not had a chance to consider this, to contact their representatives and say, hey, this is how I feel.
Sure.
Right, so,
Yeah, I can understand that, and again, apologize for the late notice. That's kind of where we are. I guess I don't think that this should be anything new as far as what the idea is. I kind of would have thought and hoped that, as a city, that's kind of what we would be looking for. But I can understand your feelings. Yeah. I would just hope that we would already had, some of this in mind and just waited for somebody to,
is this a recurring grant? Will this occur
No,
again?
it's a one-time grant.
A one-time?
Yeah, it's not a recurring grant.
But you have to
That's regrettable.
basically, you have to self-sustain it by the
Yes,
sales.
because
and
they
by-
want us
Yeah.
to sustain it 3 years after the grant period is over. And we are
which
willing to
again,
do it, and that's why,
That's why the landfill is not really
yeah. And we have talked to other people who said that we have heard about the grant, but again, it's available to community and technical colleges, so that's why we are applying. And I understand your reservation, but we wanted to bring this to you. Now, all I can ask, yes, we have to submit this by Friday. I can submit it without, whatever you're saying with that, but again, the chances get better as we put in more detail and whatnot. So if I'm submitting something, I want to make sure we have a pretty good chance of getting it. So I can provide you that information. Do you think by Friday, if you could let us know, because I will only put what you are giving me in the grant,
Well, I mean, that was my question, like, for, as far as specificity, what, if we want to say we support you, and let's just say, for instance, and we would donate land, we don't have to say at this point whether it's 2 acres.
Oh, no.
Inside town, outside town.
No,
And we
not
don't
at
have to
all.
say whether it is or isn't the land bank either, like if we happen to get clear titles.
Yeah,
We
but-
just say we would provide land.
Absolutely, but we have to put in terms of how we planning on, if we do mention land bank, I believe we have to mention land bank if that's the route we're gonna take, because we need to provide that information, how we're gonna get clear title. So that's another thing. That's why we weren't going that route. Yes, but you don't have to say 2 acres of land you have to provide. You can say, hey, yes, we're gonna be donating land for the houses that's gonna be built and infrastructure.
suitable for the bill.
Okay, then I would motion that the city write a letter of support saying that we will donate land for the building of the 4 houses and help with the infrastructure that is needed in order to get the grant. That satisfy everything that you need?
Absolutely.
Seconded.
Kim Van
Not,
Hookey?
not,
Oh, sorry.
just hold on. So,
Hold on a
we're,
second, Commissioner Dancer, you have something?
yeah, I did. So we're promising to donate land whether we have it currently or not. Is that what I'm hearing? So, sometime before, and the
August
program
1st.
would start August
August
1st?
1st.
So, okay, so
When will
sometime
you-
in the next 5 months, we would have to find the land or acquire the land, or have it donated. Is that right? So I'm tracking. So we could be up against the ropes and say, okay, well, we don't have it in the land bank, now we need to go out and get it.
It's
So that
not in the
creates a
land.
sense of urgency, it drives prices up. So, okay, just to be clear. Go ahead.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yeah, I'm still not really comfortable with this myself. I understand what they're trying to do. I applaud what they're trying to do, but again, with this short of notice and lack of details, and the commissioner answers the point of us being against the wall and having to go acquire land because we don't have anything in the land bank, my vote is going to be no.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Dylan Olson.
Yes.
Tracy Dancer.
No.
Catherine Salisbury.
Oh, God. Bear with me.
When will you know if you get the award? March. So if you're denied, even with our letter of support, if you're denied, there's no need to buy land, right?
Absolutely.
to
Yeah,
find
then, yeah.
land or
If we don't get the grant, we can't move forward
only if
with
they
this
get the-
project.
Yeah,
only if they
it's,
get the grant.
yeah, it
This
definitely
is
would be
about
contingent on.
allow, it's not about everything we talked about in 40 minutes. It's about, do you believe this is a viable project to partner with them on or not? I mean,
Yeah.
comes down to that.
Discussion's over.
Yeah, we're really supposed to let her vote.
Well, she paused.
I know. Thank you. Yes.
That's it.
Yep, motion passed.
Motion passed.
Carries? Okay.
I'd really like to see the letter, though, before doing it.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, whatever it is, at least for listening to us at the
there-
last minute, so.
Anybody in the peanut gallery? No? Okay.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much.
I would move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Tracy Dancer.
Yes.
Catherine Salisbury.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
No, I want to hang out with you guys. Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Dylan Olson.
Yes.